Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, do you ever find yourself in those situations where you're having a reaction that seems bigger than the situation warrants, but you also know your reaction is not wrong because the other person seems a bit ridic in what they're doing? That's short for ridiculous. How do we follow our inner knowing to honor our needs, honor our boundaries? We're going to talk about this today. Our inspiration, a little you time, because you matter the most. And we'll have a sweet letter from a friend, appreciation for being ourselves and living the lives we're in. All this and more. Come grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Well, hello, beautiful friend. It's me, Robin. Welcome back to the podcast, Tea with Robin. This is episode 127. 127. If it's your first time here, if we're just meeting for the first time, hi. Thanks for being here. I hope you love it. This is a place where we talk about real life, real stuff, and handling it, learning to show up in our joy, in our authentic selves, which is sometimes harder than it seems. And we talk about that too. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Big thanks to however you got here. My gratitude. Friends returning. Hi, how are you doing? How's the weather in your heart these days? I hope that you are showing up with the kind of love and kindness that you're proud of, that you respect and admire in yourself. Yeah, because it's powerful, you know, respecting yourself and knowing you're doing your best to love and care for yourself, but also honor what you need to be doing. You know, hold the line, set a boundary. It's powerful. Over here, it's a beautiful day. I'm actually recording on Friday, and I'll tell you why. Sunday is number one husband's birthday. He's the birthday boy, so I want to have lots and lots of free time to play and hang out with him, and I don't want to miss out on the joyful recording of the podcast or editing. I don't want to miss out on the joy of this either. So I'm doing it earlier in the week and it's perfect. It's wonderful. So anywho, it's a beautiful day here. The snow is melting. We've had so much snow, sometimes up to my knees in certain areas. And we're having a mini heat wave right now. This afternoon, we're supposed to have a lot of rain. It's going to melt a ton of stuff, and we're going to have 50 degrees here over the weekend. So beautiful, beautiful. And I'm doing wonderfully well. I tell you what, this has been a big week for honoring my needs, honoring my boundaries, following my inner knowing, and holding the line too. It's just been challenging. There have been moments where I'm like, wow, right now, nobody knows but you that you're really holding a lot of stuff. It's big stuff. And, sometimes it's like you have to be your own witness because nobody else knows. And part of that is work stuff, confidentiality, of course, but just my own journey. So a lot of challenges this week for me on the personal journey front. Whoa, baby, whoa. But that means I took notes. And we're going to talk about that coming up. So did you grab a cup of yum yum? Huh? I've got the last bit of my amazing Earl Grey tea. And I want to cheers to us. We rock the Casbah. How do you like that for something different? Because I always say we're amazing and awesome. I'm trying to put some new terms in here. We rock the Casbah. Cheers to the journey. Cheers to our willingness, to our courage, to our showing up. Cheers. Oh, the colder it gets, the better it tastes. Well, friends, like I said, this has been a huge week for me, boundaries-wise. Boundaries and just that feeling like nobody gets it but you. Nobody needs to get this but you, but nobody knows but you, this feeling. And so I just thought I'd share a little bit about that and to set the stage for you, because I like it when you play along while you listen. We've been talking for several weeks now kind of about showing up in your life with a deeper ownership of the moment and whatever it is you're desiring to do. And we have to make our own meaning sometimes right now. We're going through an incredibly difficult year, and it's up to us to make our lives what we want them to be. And so you might want to think about, as it relates to that, what is the work you're doing right now, spiritually speaking, so that you're more free to be that, free in your life, to enjoy your time? What are the places that are still a bit grindy for you? Maybe you've been working on your reactivity, the way you get triggered. Maybe you've been working on your self-care and your self-awareness, like paying attention to yourself. Maybe you've been really trying to honor a new schedule that you've been wanting to do. Whatever it is, just think about what's going on for you. And I always like that. I think it's more helpful. So I have been having some interesting boundary challenges this week. When I say boundaries, I think one part of us always assumes we're talking about with someone else, and the image for me is holding people out somehow. But I'm talking about boundaries in a new way here. I'm thinking about holding the line within your own heart, and that's what I've been doing. This week, it was just weird. The number of emails I got asking me for things that are really outside the scope of what I could do. Also, like how inappropriate the ask in my heart felt on so many times. Asking for too much, not saying thank you, these things that really bug me. Asking me for information that was above and beyond what I really wanted or feel I should be having to give. And I'm going to stop me right here and say it's tempting to judge what bugs you. It's tempting to judge me. It's tempting to judge what I'm saying, as bad. But it is what it is. It's just what happens. I would love it if we just really were like, I can't help the feelings that are coming up, but I can help the feelings that are coming up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's interesting, though, how you can be focused on being irritated by the people who are showing up in your life the way they do. Or you could say, some of this responsibility lies with me. Some of the reason why I'm upset about this is connected to my very own history. And it's important that I choose, because I want to have a sweet life and I want to be a joyful person. It's important that I choose to work with this stuff, not to run from it, not to cover it up and pretend it doesn't matter, not to just shame myself out of it, but just work on it, work with it, work on it. So some of the responsibility lies with me. If people are writing me ridiculous emails, asking for ridiculous things, and I'm just going to say it like that because that's how it feels when I read some of the stuff I get. Obviously, I'm judging it that way. I'm getting triggered by it. There's a lot of stuff here that's happening, and this is where personal history is very important. my own history is that I didn't matter. So it's like, this is an important place. And I need to learn how to hold the line. Does that make sense? So part of the journey is just really learning how to honor my needs. First of all, to allow my needs, to know my needs, to be honoring of my needs. That's the first. And then to take care of that. Let myself have what I'm needing. You know, I wish somebody had said it. I'm so glad I can be here telling you it's going to cause friction internally for you when you do this work. And it doesn't always go away. Hello, I've been working on some version of this for like a long time. And I'm still here working on it. I'm in a very different place with all of it, but I'm still here working on it. So there will be this friction. So when people write me and they're like, hey, I can't give specifics because I'm going to get arrested. I know it. I don't like getting those emails later asking if I was talking about you. So I'm giving more vague on purpose. But when people write and ask for ridiculous things, let's say you happen to be an intuitive healer in practice, and they're writing you asking for, can you come and fix the tires on my car? And can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And you internally feel upset about it. That's the key. I had to pause and think, how do you say that? Because people aren't ridiculous in a vacuum. They're ridiculous to you. Their request, I should say, is ridiculous to you because you have some stuff to work on. And so it really, really is like an inflamed issue and it lights up, right? So, yeah, it's big. So here we are in this practice of learning how to have boundaries, deeper internal boundaries. And a big part of those boundaries are around care of the self, taking care of yourself. I'm sure to a lot of people that's going to mean a lot of different things. But to me, I mean honoring the voice, the one in you that is asking you not to do the same damn thing you do every single time before this. You know what I mean? Do you know what it's like to be so frustrated but not know what else to do, and then you just do the same thing again and again and again? I mean, I tell you, it's like running yourself over with the tractor. You're driving it over yourself at the same time you're underneath the tires. It's like you can't. There's a part in you that's like, don't do this again. This is a ridiculous request, whatever is going on. I hope you are converting to your own issue, because the hundreds and hundreds of stories I could tell you about the ways we run ourselves over with that tractor because we don't know what else to do. Sometimes I'm astounded by that. Sometimes I am brought to tears by that, but mostly I know this is just our journey. This is the work we got to do. Maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but the thing is, we want to make meaning in meaningful ways in our lives. Instead of going around being angry or resentful or anxious, all these things that we each carry, we want to choose how we want to direct our energy, do we not? And if it was possible to choose how we want to roll in the day, and I know it to be true, if we want to get to the place of choosing, if we want it to be meaningful, and if we want our day to be under our own control, then I think it's important to tackle areas like this that can suck the day away. You can be upset about an email or a handful of emails and get so focused in on it, and then the next day get another series of stuff. And again, please convert to your own issue here. But, you can be stuck and frustrated for days on end. And then at the end of the week, say, this whole week, what did I do? All week long, I've been dealing with this carp. So that's why we set a boundary within ourselves, because there's got to be other things we would love to be giving our awareness and our attention and our focus to. Whatever it is that you feel you would love to be doing. I hear so many stories. And I promise there is no judgment if the doing looks a lot more like nothing. That's pretty much my life in a lot of ways. There's no judgment on what the doing is, but knowing your preference and making the choice is everything. So these boundaries are uncomfortable boundaries, and that's why we throw ourselves under the bus, keep my metaphor straight here, under the tractor. Why we run ourselves over, because it seems so uncomfortable. But this is exactly where we need to do our work. And also uncomfortable boundaries, because sometimes when you acknowledge to yourself that you've been trying to make certain things work that aren't working, you've been trying to keep going, keep doing these things that don't feel true to you. So you're going to actually do the thing. You'll take the uncomfortable boundary because you know it's time and you know this isn't serving you anymore. And it's going to actually feel scary and it's going to actually cause some friction. You're going to have some uncomfortable feelings that come up. You're making the choice because you want to love yourself. You want to honor yourself. Take care of yourself. Does that make sense? So I wanted to talk about that today. I wanted to have a place to say, sometimes it's really hard living in the world with other people and all the stuff that comes up in a day and a week. And there are these times where events string together in such a way that you might realize you're being guided. You're being led through a healing, growth, expansion experience. And it's not always easy. And it's not always smooth. Your old conditioning will trip the wire, and you'll be having memories and thoughts. It'll feel scary because you're breaking out. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to make these moves? What does it look like to handle this? What does it look like? I feel deeply that we need to have compassion for ourselves and to love this one in us who is freaking freaked out about stepping. I'm looking for my note here. Stepping further in to what you need to be doing. And I have this note here that says, nobody needs to get it but you. It's so important that you realize you need to get it. And you need to love yourself. Whatever is happening in your life this week, right now, whatever's going on, however you're relating to this message, you are inside there with yourself. You need to give yourself some love, some compassion, some acknowledgement. Nobody needs to get it but you. Those times feeling like I would get in trouble if I said no growing up, and I learned to say yes. Just go with it. A lot of times there was no other way. But I think the whole time there was scared inside of me. If you think about being really small and you think about knowing you're not in power, I think even as little kids, we know what that is, that we're not in control or in power. It can be scary. So there might be fear here that's just also very old. It resonates with what's happening, whatever it is today. Yeah, so uncomfortable boundaries, but these are things that are happening in the service of your own freedom. And also, you are being of service in the world. And I care about that. For me, I think the idea of being in service is that the more I'm my authentic self, the more I help other people as well. I'm talking about being yourself, being your real self. And if you know it's a no, saying it, like daring to say that. That's the service I'm actually thinking of right now. Not pretending you're happy, to do these things you don't want to do. If you're feeling the hit to speak your truth to someone and say, hey, I don't really get why you think it's okay to dump this in my lap or to ask me for this or whatever. I sound so tough. That's the service. You are in service to the world. You're in service to that person. Even if they don't like you very much, you're in service. There's something really beautiful to honoring and recognizing yourself in that, to saying, hey, I'm proud of you, to looking in the mirror, looking into your own eyes and saying, I am proud of you. You're doing this, and it's hard. It's really hard. Look how far you've come. Look how far you've come. You know? Look how far you've come. It's amazing. It's good to honor and recognize yourself for how far you've come and how hard you've worked. And I'm honest to God, my hand is on my heart right now. And if that's you too, well done. Well done. And I highly recommend training yourself to do it in the moments where you're going to judge yourself for how you're not handling it like your imaginary self thinks you should be handling it. Remember Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City? I mean, all of those characters. Sometimes I would watch that show and I'd be like, oh my God, everybody knows how to do this but me. It's a freaking TV show, lady, with a gajillion writers who are drawing from their own lives. It's hard in real life. It's hard. So when you get up against that place where you're going to be mean to yourself, it's good to honor and recognize yourself for how far you've come and how hard you've worked. You know, sometimes people write me and say, I've got this sticky situation. They'll write this whole long thing. And it's like, this is all coming from a place of fear, honoring the fear, continuing on in the pattern. What if we were more inspired by the life we say we want to live than the fear that keeps us stuck in these places? When you see the recklessness of other people or the out of boundsness to what they're saying to you, sometimes the right move is to not keep doing what you continue to keep doing. Last week, the inspiration, I don't know if you heard episode 126, I was talking about flip it and reverse it. Sometimes that's what you need to do to change things up. So you're going to have some energy around that, though. It's natural. So before you cover that up again, before you blow it off again, before you take your stuff to a friend and talk it all up with them, before you seek any kind of outside action, make some space to sit with your own feelings about it. This is the one thing I feel like we all can use today. No matter what's going on for you, before you do anything, sit with what's going on. Just give yourself some acknowledgement. I say to myself, nobody needs to get it but you. You get it. That's what matters. It's important. In so many ways, the reminder that if other people get mad at me, I'm laughing because I don't like it. I didn't say I liked it. I'm saying I'm doing really good at it, setting these boundaries, but I still don't like it. Nobody needs to get it but me. So sit with how you're feeling. Give yourself some acknowledgement. And there's no outside anything that you need to have. Approval, permission, consensus, forgiveness. Did I say permission? There's absolutely nothing you need outside of yourself in that moment. But is the yearning huge. So it's good time to get really good at giving yourself the props, you know, giving yourself the feedback, giving yourself the love. If you get what I'm saying, you know it's really, really hard. You've been there. You've felt it. You've probably betrayed yourself more than you like to see. And I'm there too. And we're making our way together, my friend. You know, together. Never forget. I tell you this, and I hope it feels helpful. There's a light inside of you, the light of God, or the light of the universe, the light of awareness. It's right there inside of you, and you can take it to your own heart. Whatever is going on, you can sit quietly with yourself and have some space. And then hold your own heart. Have you ever felt what it feels like to witness your feelings, to really be a witness to yourself? Like, really. Not like, really. Seriously, really. Like, not, stop. Not just rant and talk and talk. Sometimes I really have to say to friends in session, like, you are telling me from your head. I'm asking you to feel it. I'm asking you to sit with it, to be. Tell me what it feels like. Not everybody knows how to do that yet. It's a skill we're growing into more and more, but it's very, very important. So it's all inside you. And you can love yourself. You can work on that. And you can also work on your judgment. You know, I think that it's just natural. We grew up in this sort of good and bad duality world. There's right and then there's wrong. There's good and then there's bad. And so it's natural for you to think if somebody comes up and does the thing that really, really bugs you, when they do that thing, you get upset or irritated, or it's very natural to notice me versus you. As we work on the spiritual journey, understand, discern. There's a difference between the light in you and the ego in you. And there's a difference between the light in your brother or your sister, you know, Course in Miracles, your brother, and the ego in them. And I feel for me it's very important, and I hope for you as well, that we continue to remember the light. Discernment between your ego self, your reactive self, your emotional self, and the spirit, the part in you who recognizes, you know, we're all one, we're all connected. This is really important stuff I'm saying today. And I could say this in another way, that we come from fear or we come from love at all times. You can work on your judgment. So you can work on the way you look at the other person and the way you judge the situation and the story you tell. You can work on these things. And it's just a prayer that you can say, help me, you know, help me release this. I want to release this. Help me. I'm angry, or I'm hurt, or I'm, you know, it's hard. I'm having a hard time accepting how I'm feeling. But don't forget to have so much credit. I think the hardest boundary is the one you set with yourself, where you decide you are going to start honoring your progress and the difficulty of the situation. Lots of compassion for you, lots of kindness for you, lots of love for you. And when people come into your experience where the boundary comes into play, it's a beautiful opportunity to practice thank you to your journey. Thank you for this opportunity. One more opportunity, another opportunity to practice loving myself, honoring the other person, and making a move that's different, you know? This is you saying, I am going to step out of this push-pull energy. and really do my thing. It's beautiful. So whoever needed to hear that, I hope it serves you today. It's big, 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 and I will put some links to any other boundary articles. I have a lot. There was a time I was really generating a lot of, as we say, content online about boundaries. So I'll put some links in the show notes if you go to robinhale.com/127. Cheers. So inspiration this week, you time. It's amazing to me how hard we will work sometimes at not taking time for ourselves. We will work really hard to not make time for ourselves. And I wrote a letter about that this week to the Love Posse. You're welcome to subscribe. There's a link here in the show notes. It's amazing to me how hard it is for us to make time for ourselves. And I'm not talking about the time you take every day, like making your breakfast, or if you regularly do certain things. I'm talking about what is the stuff you never do that you always say you're going to do. Time for you. What is it that you really want to be doing with your time? It's not always an easy thing to do, but it's definitely so important, especially in this time, that we continue to make meaning for ourselves, enjoy our lives, enjoy our time, find what lights us up, and have this tangible, but this really a visceral sensation that no matter what, I can say, I did a little of my me time today. That was a good rhyme. No matter what, a little of my me time today. Making some time for you. We have to make the time. That's all there is to it. It's the only way it happens. And you get to decide what this is. I know for some people it would be working on a project they're really excited to do. I know several of you writing right now, several of you creating right now, several of you rehabbing right now. It's not exactly like, I think we have this weird vision of what you time always has to look like a trip to the spa. I am the last person you will see at a spa. I can't tell you the last time I had a pedicure or a manicure, and that's not because of the pandemic. It's just not my thing, So don't think you time is like you're going to have your hair in a turban towel and getting massages and all that. You got to come up with your own vision of you time. It's vitally important to your being. It can be big stuff or little stuff, but you have to make the time. That's all. And a lot of times when I talk to people who are like, oh, I want more of that in my life. I want to get to that place myself. And I get what a struggle it is, because I grew up in that thing where you have to do your chores before you can go out to play. What about you? You have to prove that you deserve to take time, all that stuff. I think that's just a universal constant for a lot of us. So we just have to become courageous and make the time. A lot of times when I get mail and messages, I can hear it so clearly how we are afraid of the consequences of making ourselves important, of mattering. It's scary. The fear of consequences, if you think about that, you may recognize you have some fear of consequences. But we need to find out what's going to happen. Will you explode if you take half a day off? Let's find out. No. But if you don't clean or you don't get back to all those emails you think are so important, maybe something good will happen. I'm hoping and praying that one of the things we all recognize is that we have given struggle importance. The whole struggle thing, we've made it important. people will say, I don't have time, it's hard to make time, or my kids won't let me make time, or my husband wouldn't get it, or, you hear all this stuff, or I'm just so busy at work. And I mean no disrespect to the struggle here because, I have skin in the game. I've got my own stories. Sometimes catching your stories is really an art form. It's really, wow. So I don't always know I'm in a story about my struggle either. The struggle is real because we've made it real. We've made this very real to us. It's meaningful. We've given it meaning, and then it feels meaningful to struggle, to make time, but not succeed. And it's good to look at the stories around that. That's kind of what I dig about it when I find these edges in me where I don't like what I'm hearing in my own head, let's say, or I don't like how it's feeling. I still say, thank you for this opportunity. Because I really get to see how, as long as I'm struggling to make time, I don't have to make time. As long as I can see how I'm telling the story of how busy I am, I don't have to make time. And I wonder, why am I doing that? I don't feel we have to suffer for joy. I feel we suffer without the joy, though. And this is why I advocate for a little you time for you. So important. And again, you time is not the stuff you already always do. Your Saturday morning yoga class. Nope. Doesn't count. I mean, it counts, okay, but it doesn't count. I'm talking about things where you're letting yourself do what you never let yourself do. And only you know what that is. So here's my little story about that. I went to the park not too long ago. I decided to take a drive to the forest preserve, and I thought, it was my day off. I kind of structure things in my schedule so that I have days where it's about healing sessions. I have days where it's about writing, and then I realized I work through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I need some time off. So I usually take Monday, Tuesday off. And I love the realization when you say, this is your day off, go, play, get out, You could do anything today, and it sounds fun to lay around and do nothing, but it never ends up being nothing. So get out and enjoy and go. So off I went. I got in the car and I went to what I call the Robbie Woods, and I thought I'm going to explore a whole new area because I have my usual places I go, but this place is huge. I looked it up. It's like 2,000 acres big, and there's nothing quite like an experience that's new, a place you've never been before, to really make you feel like you did something special, So I went and I made tea. I brought a thermos. I brought some snacks. I took my time. And something told me, put your snow pants on. I have snow pants. I just got them. I love them. Every year I say I'm going to get snow pants, and I always end up making do. But this year I got snow pants. I really miss the days of being a little kid and skiing and ice skating and all the things I love to do outside. So snow pants takes me back in so many ways. So off I went, and I walked and I explored and I looked at, trees and pine cones. I collected a bunch of acorn. Are they acorns with the cute little hats? Oh, so cute, the little shells that the squirrels must pop off to eat just the nut parts. Oh, God, nut parts. So good. And I had just started thinking this would be the perfect day to go sledding. I wonder if I have anything in the car I could sit on and sled if I found a hill. And I started getting mad at myself for not thinking to keep like some kind of sled, because I've always loved sledding, and Jeff and I used to keep at least saucers in the car and we would go sledding. And it reminds me of growing up as a kid, as a lot of this stuff does. It's just so much fun. So right after that thought and lamenting that, just feeling a little upset, I rounded the corner on this amazing sledding hill. And then I was really like, oh, what's in the car? TJ Maxx bag, black trash bag with a black, one of those heavy, I think a heavy bag is in there with my donations, couldn't think of anything that would work. And suddenly I found this little red sled and it was amazing. I just said, thank you. Somebody left a sled right there. It was just a butt. I don't know what this sled is called, but it has got to be the smallest thing ever. A butt with a handle. That's what it looked like. I said, thank you. And I went sledding. I went sledding and sledding and sledding. And I laughed so hard. I hooped and hollered so loud. It was fantastic. Nobody was there. It was a Tuesday. That's the other beautiful thing about having a day off that's not the weekend. Beautiful. And nobody was there. Right down the center of this big sledding hill were these bumps. And of course, no matter what you do, you end up, it was great. Flying sometimes in the air a little bit, getting some air. So good. So, you time, miracles, expansion, freedom, release. All of these things happen when you make time for yourself and you get a little lost in the joy of your experience. And only you know what this is. Only you know what this is for you. And only you know your edge around it, right? About making yourself a priority. Only you know where the edge is and what you need to be doing. But I tell you, I hope you try it. I hope you do it. My one big secret is that people really invest a lot of energy into not making time. So what would you do if you weren't afraid of the consequences? What would you do if you allowed yourself to make yourself a big deal? So cheers, my friend. We owe it to our hearts to allow the space for our own delight, especially now. It really, really matters. Here's to doing what lights us up. Cheers. Okay, it's time. I told you I only had a little bit of tea, so hang on. I'll be right back. Time to go get a little more. Oops. Hello. I'm back. More tea, and we continue on. This is the part of the show where I love to ask you, please share the podcast. I heard the sweetest stories this week. Oh my goodness. Just about the ways you enjoy and listen to the podcast. And it is beautiful because, I don't think we always realize how we make a difference. And this week it was so cute. Some of you took me to surgery with you. They're playing in the operating room. Lots of people tell me they slept with me this week. You went to the dentist. You had a root canal. I love being there with you on the journey. It's amazing. And that's the beautiful thing. We always ride together. So if you can think of a new friend to invite into our posse, please share this on. And sometimes I'm so touched by, you just don't know. I'll get letters in the week where people say, this has literally saved my life this year. And so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Share it on, leave a review, tell a friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dankeschön. Arigato. Cheers. Who is the biggest goofball in the room? Me. Cheers. So this week's letter, I thought I would read a few texts I got this week because sometimes I sense a theme and I just thought it would be fun. So I'm getting these little messages from friends. Basically, and before anyone thinks I'm just saying, look how awesome I am, people. It's just, I'm saying what is standing out to friends is the simple life. I live a very simple life. I have learned how to reduce my need to be busy, which is a huge skill if you ask me. And it's scary sometimes to slow down. And this is why I feel we struggle and resist. And like I said, the struggle is real. We invent things to struggle just to stay life preservation, to stay active because we don't know how to face the quietude. But it doesn't all have to be quietude. Nobody over here has shaved her head and, laid on the concrete floor for hours on end. I just love what I love. Yeah, so I thought I would read this message at the risk of sounding like I am patting myself on the back. Hello. I was appreciating you this morning, just observing so many people talking about creating a life they love, but through routines and habits and all the like. And a year ago, I would have bought in and felt shitty about myself because I don't have disciplined habits and routines. But isn't it beautiful now that I can still believe in making joyous, aligned choices and can also feel so free that I do not need to be tied to any particular way of doing things? I've learned that by watching how you live your life. I'm so glad you share. It's freed me up to do the same. Like, I bought a book about cleaning and organizing on a schedule because it makes my Virgo heart sing, but there's never a day where I do it all, and I'm so okay with that because I choose the parts that make me feel light each day, and I ditch the rest without stressing. Thank you for that gift. Thank you too, my friend. I think the thing that is so cool is I always thought I needed to be somebody. And it turns out I am, obviously, just like you are. But the thing that brings the comfort, the thing that brings the joy, the thing I'm recognized for is like, hi, I like to go to sleep with you. Your voice, your soothing voice, or the permission to be relaxed, to be the voice that's saying, there is this thing people invent called like organization and stress management and systems, checks and balances, and all of that is necessary if you believe in a stressful life. If you believe in I'm too stressed to be blessed, then yeah, you need all these systems. And you can get very involved in the systems. And I'm not even knocking the systems, so please don't write me about it. Thank you. But isn't it lovely to face your stress, face your struggles, face your fear, whatever it is, and say, this is what I want. I choose. I'm thinking of Arwen in Lord of the Rings when her father's like, don't marry Aragorn. go to the land of the elves and be an elf, be a magical elf, stay with your people. You'll live on forever. And she's like, no, I choose a mortal life. Do you remember that scene? I choose a mortal life. I look at it sometimes like, if it's really true that we are spirit beings on an earth plane having an experience, an individual experience, and I'm saying if like, haha, if it's true for me, like there's no question. Why do I need to be so worried about making myself into somebody? Can't I just be in my life and love what I love and do what I do and enjoy what I enjoy? And if it gives me great pleasure to work, then I'll work. If it gives me pleasure to dig in the garden, then I'll dig. If I love beautiful, colorful things, then I'll have those in my home. I'll follow my joy, and I'll trust that that's how I serve. And I hope you will too. I hope you'll trust that that's how you serve. And yeah, my friend said to me this week, it's a big compliment to say I took you to surgery with me this week. I get it. It's a big deal. But maybe your ego mind doesn't think it's enough. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Doesn't feel like that's what somebody who's building an empire wants to be noted for. The soothing voice that people want to sleep to. But when you accept what is, you love what is, you find there's a lot more space in your life to just keep giving your heart to what it loves. So, for whatever that's worth, I hope it encourages you. And I find it interesting. I probably had like 5 text messages from friends in my circle who commented on this kind of a thing this week. And you're so good at living a luxurious life. And it's, like I said, I'm not the girl with the turban on her head getting a massage almost ever. But I do love to enjoy my time. And I've had to learn. It's hard-won freedom, I will say. In any moment, you're going between fear or love. And if you're going with fear, you're going to be generating a lot of stress and struggle stories. Some feeling very, very real. So real that they don't seem like you're choosing it. But it's always fun to see. I wonder if I still am choosing this story. So may that serve you today. And friends, if I can speak to something for you or answer a question, or you just have a question for me, please write to me at hello@robinhallett.com. Cheers. And wow, I guess that wraps. Another beautiful episode, 127, Tea with Robin in the can. I think we should call it Nobody Needs to Get This But You. I really liked that part, especially. It's so important. Like, you're the one that needs to validate yourself. You're the one that needs to evaluate what you're needing. Nobody else. And because you're the one that needs to make the moves to get free. So, well, I'm ending on a Saturday afternoon. This is a very rare feeling. I'm feeling kind of wild and free, like I'm going to have all this free time available. But you know what I got to go do now? I got to wrap birthday presents for a certain birthday boy for tomorrow. And I really took my time to think about what would feel special for him. So I'll have to let you know how that goes. I hope he loves it. I got a few special things, and Yeah, just celebrate. And if it's your birthday too, let me just say, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, hoo, 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 happy birthday to you. This has been me, Robin. Happy birthday. I love you. Hallett. And I'll see you next time or in a few minutes. Bye-bye. Life is very short. Let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it, rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly, 'cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss. Thanks.